guy's probably tired.
No, I felt bad more than tired, dude. I felt bad because you're messaging me, and I was really considerate. I really appreciate that. You're like, dude, like, do you want to reschedule? I know you've been busy. I'm pretty sure you saw like the Instagram. I've been competing and traveling and all that, and I was down, but then I was thinking like, all right. Yeah, I know you're trying to like push, but like maybe it's a sign, like take a break. And dude, like, yeah, my eyes were bloodshot. My lady was like, yeah, I can see it. You're tired. And I was like, I'm good. But
Yeah.
then I'm like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? Like we don't normally say like I'm good or I'm tired. Like I got to take a rest. I'm always go, 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 go. So that was a sign of like, yeah, take a rest, dude. Like maybe start next week. And it was perfect. You know, this
Yeah, I
morning
know,
just
cause
starting
I
off and go from
dude, I
there.
understand, bro, cause I'm in the military, so, like, I understand, like, I'm constantly, like, on the go or, like, I'll go from work, I'm straight to the gym, and it's ready, like, coming home at 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? And I gotta do,
Yeah.
like, the household stuff for the kids, so, dude, I understand. Especially traveling takes a toll on your body and your mind.
Yeah.
Traveling and
100%.
coaching, those are the 2 things
Coaching,
that just horrible.
traveling. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Alright, brother, so, for people who don't know you, man, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kevin Carrasco. I'm originally from California, but I train under Casino Osvaldo Moisinho in Goodyear, Arizona, like on the west side. I got my black belt, I want to say 2020, like right after during that COVID time. And I compete as much as I can. I've competed since I was a kid, since white belt. And I also teach at that gym in Goodyear too, and living the life, living the dream.
So, brother, where did the whole journey start you from? Like, where did you start your jujitsu journey from?
So Sacramento, the first gym name was Cia Polista, like officially, but I remember having a gym, and it was very brief. My brother went, and it was like a MMA no-gi based style. And in 2009, at that time, it was like, you know, everybody's wearing tap out, big old baggy shorts, you know, people are like in a fight club. And so like there was a class with one kid and we no gi, rash guard attire. It's not like these days. It's just you go in there, you learn some grappling, right? That's what it's called, like grappling no gi class. And then every single time we bounce shake hands, like he would take my back, choke me out. And then I'm looking at my dad, I'm getting in the choke, and he's just like, "Hell yeah, dude! Like I like that." My son's getting like, you know, his butt beat and all that. So I fell in love with it. You know, I even did karate before, and I remember when I was doing karate, they had games, they had the techniques, but the most favorite part was when they go, "Hey, get your pads, like put on the headgear, the body stuff." And it's very similar when I did jiu-jitsu because when you start rolling, it's just you're in the mix. Like you got to figure it out. You got to fight. Fast forward to the actual like official gym where I started. Like I was 9, like just about to turn 10. And from that point on, I just kept it going. So my brother started first, Frankie. So I'm the youngest of 4. He was like the second youngest, but he started like shortly right after I did. And then my father, and then my older sister, and then my oldest brother. So we all actually started doing jiu-jitsu at some point together.
Wow.
And I'm just only one because I'm the youngest. I was lucky enough to start at that age where all I really worried about was just going to school, compete, and it was routine, right? Like I would grab my dad's gi after he'd come home from work and I'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to jiu-jitsu, we're gonna be late. Like it wasn't like I'm dreading it or oh, like I'm tired. Like, it was just we go, and that was it. And it feels the same way. Like I just travel with my gi. You're probably the same way. You travel, you just have a gi with you. You never know. You talk about some things with people in jiu-jitsu. It's like that connection, right? Like you start realizing like how similar other people are. And that's definitely what I was doing. Just get up, get my gi, finish school, get my gi. And I feel like that same moment till now is the only thing that's the very similar feel. It's just it was routine. You know what I mean?
So
It
how
just never stopped. Yeah.
so how old like at what point in when you're training as a little kid did you know that this wasn't a hobby anymore? It was more like integrated into your life.
Yeah. So like when I was reflecting back, I want to say late teens, like early adult, like 18, 19, 20. I was reflecting back and I say, like, I didn't realize that it was such routine that even to this day, it feels very similar. So that's a good question because, like, it's not a moment of, whoa, this is full time, or whoa, like, I'm now becoming a full time athlete or a high level athlete. I even had this conversation with my girl the other day, or yesterday, I think, where she was asking, like, when did you feel or realize, like, hey, I'm at the highest level? And to be honest, I don't consider myself high level only because mentally, like I love what I do, right? Like that is the most important thing. And I feel like very similar, like not similar people, but similar scenarios where like high level people, like the biggest common denominator is like they love what they do. That's the biggest thing I realize. And some of these high level people, like basketball, football, like they just have this common feeling of like I notice with them, like they're routine. They wake up, they're doing football. They wake up, they're doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling. It's not even like all right, I gotta clock into work. It's like I just that's what I do. And I feel like that reflection was more of a stronger feeling than that moment of now. Like there was no moment of now like, whoa, I'm doing this forever, or whoa, like I'm good, or whoa, now it's actually part of my life. It was more of like, man, I didn't realize that it was gonna be like this. That's more of the feeling. You know what I mean? Like I was super grateful for doing what I love. And then thinking back, being like all the things that happened like throughout my career in life, like led me up to this moment. And that was huge for me. Right. So not a lot of people get to experience that. So that was more of like gratitude of like, man, like we're doing good. Right.
And that's crazy you mention that because like I've just recently like I've needed to walk a path where I needed to find myself more into because like like I've been doing it since I was a little kid too. So I started when I was a little sixth grade. That's when I started in 2005.
So you're also like 8 or 9. No, like 10, around
Yeah.
10, 11. Yeah.
So me and my brother, we started because we were just poor kids that all we just did was wanted to go train, and that was a
Mm.
safe space, right? And all we just did every day is we couldn't pay for jujitsu, so we just cleaned the mats and help out around the gym, and we just went there every day, and that was our
Yeah.
community. So going into like adulthood and stuff, like it's become routine, right? Like even if
Yeah.
I'm in the military or I'm traveling somewhere, I always have my gi, and I was like, my friends would be like, "Hey, we're gonna go out to this club, or we're gonna go check the downtown." I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna go check out this gym. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go train," and I've got to meet a lot of people that have like-minded and they love the journey, and it's just a community. They love the community too as well, and it's more like a sense of therapy. And I tell people that I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
you're never too old to start, and you're never too old to do it. You know what I mean? And they're always like, man, but my back, and I was like, man, it's a
It's
gentle art.
fine.
You'll be
It's totally
fine.
fine. Yeah, you're good. I
And
realized that in COVID actually, 2020, when they shut everything down. I don't know if you went through that where they just a lot of gyms were trying to put up newspapers and like, "Hey, like come on in and train," right? There was a period of I was like more irritable and I was just less patient. I had to work out. I had to do something. That's actually one of the most significant moments where I realized, whoa, jiu-jitsu is now my therapy. Like it's not just passion, like passion's there, but it's like if I don't have it, like I'm a different person. And it's funny because what you said, like you've only done it for so long, you only know that feeling of jiu-jitsu. It's like integrated. It's like I've talked about this with people where like I notice people at high school afterwards or even college, they're star athletes or they're very athletic. They're about that lifestyle. And then when they stop, they hit real life, life happens. They stop that activity, especially for people who need to keep moving. Like I consider myself somebody that I'm not meant to sit down. Like
yeah.
I understand that 100%. That was a feeling I had during COVID. I was like, man, I need this 100%, right? Or like, I got to figure something out. You know what I mean? I realized that. And I share that a lot with people. Like, if it's not jujitsu, you got to find something that's therapeutic,
Yeah.
especially as a man. Like, you go insane, right? Like, you have work, life, family. I'm not there yet with like family, but just I can only imagine even more of that therapeutic feel, right? And we don't have to talk necessarily. It's just sharing the mats with other people, that grit, that camaraderie. Everybody knows that feeling. It's like you don't know what you have until it gets away, right? That's exactly how it felt for like a full month. And I was like, I don't want that to leave, dude. I want to come back, hurry up, COVID. Let's, get this over with so that we get to train. So I feel that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I play like jujitsu is like never turned off in my mind. So even when I'm at the military or I'm at work, and I'm constantly like when there's situation that arise, I see how people kind of handle stress and stuff, or when they're put in uncomfortable positions. I'm just like, how you gonna get out of that, man? Like, how you gonna talk your way out of it, or how you gonna like own up to it and like fix
Hmm.
the mistake, and I always tell people that like if you don't know how to fix your mistake in life and then you try jujitsu, it will expose you so much where you're gonna
100%.
have to try to fix it, and then now you're gonna be a better person off the mat, fixing
Hmm.
issues that you thought you couldn't fix anymore. And that's what it exposes, it exposes
Yeah.
your weak side of yourself. And it's a man, like I said, like doing it for a long time, and like even Marv knew me since I was a little kid, you know what I mean? Since I was in high school. And it's awesome to see how people we've grown up around, even like Marvin, he's a good mentor,
Hmm.
man, super awesome guy, super level-headed,
100%. Yeah.
and how he would through conversation teach me in a way that's like doesn't feel like he's teaching you, but he's like actually talking to teaching you. It was like, I coming back and thinking about it in conversation with him, like he's always that guy too, teaching jujitsu outside of the mat too as well.
100%.
Because
I feel that.
he's always working on himself mentally, and that's one thing I've adopted is mental work, and so I recently going through a reconstruction on my jujitsu where I had to step back and be like, I need to go back to the basic. You know what I mean? Because now I'm losing
Yeah.
sight of mental strength
Yeah.
versus like physical strength. Physically, I'm strong. Mentally, I need to like reinforce my walls again. You know what I mean? And go back to can I do a proper armbar? Can I do get the back properly and hold seatbelt properly? Like, you know what I mean? And
It
it
goes in
goes.
full circle. Yeah, it goes full
Yes,
circle.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So even as a black belt, you know, I explained to some of this some students is like, hey man, like hey, they're like, hey, how come you why are you just like playing like basic stuff right now? Because if I could go on your guard and I could just get a basic arm bar,
Yeah, that's it. It works.
that means I'm good, and that's it,
Yeah.
you know. And sometimes I always tell this to anyone. I say you always have to go back to the basic, and it's sometimes in
Yeah.
your life you have to go back to the basic when you're hitting a wall. You have to go back to what you know, like that COVID, right? Like COVID, you
Mhm.
could have lost yourself and been like, dude,
100%.
I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
do some chess, you know? But you stick with it and you find alternate ways to stimulate your brain again to get back on, which is doing drills or
Mhm.
watching clips. I always tell people if you just study, you'll understand positioning, you understand why,
Mhm.
and you just go play it and put into to practice. But it's
That's
funny,
true.
it's funny you mention that, man, because I say every time I talk to someone on here, they mention the same thing where they say it's just routine and they need it, you
Yeah.
know, and it's awesome.
It's addicting.
So what moment in your career did you did you wanna quit and you didn't? Like, where
Mhm.
did you hit that wall and then you were like, "Man, like, this is probably like" go home and be like, "I don't wanna do this anymore," because 'Cause I've hit that wall sometimes, and when I hit that wall, it's like usually the military is taking more of my time than what I want, and my wife just
Yeah.
reminds me like, "Hey, you're putting in the work. You're good."
Mm. You have like
You
that
know?
reinforcement. That's important too, having that reinforcement. Like if you lose your way, your lady being like, "Hey, you're good. Don't worry. You know, you keep doing your thing." To be honest, I haven't hit that wall. Maybe it's just more of a life experience I haven't gone through yet. But I feel like I recognize when there's a little burnout. The kind of burnout when you train really hard for a tournament, any tournament, right? Small, big. You know, you got to treat it the same. And what are you doing afterwards? I'm hitting that point in my career in my life where now, hey, are you recovering? You're not getting younger. And I'm young, right? I'm 26, but the weight cuts and the toll you put on your body, and in this sport, wrestling, very similar, maybe judo, a powerlifting, whatever has a weight class and you got a weight cut, it puts a toll on your body. And I've definitely done it many times the wrong way. So it's more of like, are you recovering? Are you, icing, not icing, like just whatever it is, like, are you prioritizing that so that you can go the next day, the next afternoon, right? Sometimes you train 2, 3 times a day and keep that going, right? Now your body's not a machine anymore, like a kid. And when I would prioritize that, that actually helped alleviate that feeling or that thought of like that burnout. Hey, I finished a tournament. For me, it's a switch, right? I'm sharp, I'm competing, and then right afterwards, the light is out, the clouds are gone. You can eat, you can relax, you can be with your friends. And are you still taking care of yourself afterwards? Like, are you preventing that burnout? Like, even if it's taking a day or two off of training, just a complete decompress. That I try to prioritize too, because again, I know I'm somebody that's on the go all the time and naturally. So I haven't hit that wall yet where it's kind of that talk within myself of saying like, do I want to continue this? Do I want to try something else? Is this time to hang it up, the cape? I feel like it's so routine that, maybe I haven't hit that point yet. And maybe I will hit that point and have to find something in my life to say, where's that reinforcement? Am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Um, Again, like I really feel like I'm grateful enough to say that so far, right, during my career, my life, that jiu-jitsu has been nothing but help. And it's a huge networking pool. The people you get to meet just is very big on community. Now I'm shifting on that sense of being a instructor, like more community, get to know people even more in that sense. And that actually gives me reinforcement without realizing it, right? Like you're already with people you like. You're already with people that it's beyond teaching, right? You can be relatable. You can learn through them. That's something I realize with a lot of students is they're coming to me with what I do professionally, but what they do outside of jiu-jitsu, everybody, they have their profession, and I'm very interested of like, "Hey, what do you do?" It's that feeling of you're walking out the door of jiu-jitsu and learning again, right? Because you can get caught up in just only teaching and only knowing what you know, and you're not growing. I feel like having that sense of growth through other people, right? Always trying to be a student in some way keeps life interesting. I think so. Especially when I travel to compete. I can be dialed in and focused and super disciplined. But I'm 100% not somebody that's always super disciplined. Like I have to have a little bit of relax, right? Like I'm eating and dieting, but I'll have a little snack. Or when I'm traveling, the other day I went to Santa Cruz, like I made a trip out of it. Hey, let's check out the scenic route. Let's see the family. Let's enjoy some food afterwards. And that actually helps prevent the burnout, right? Little things that I feel like make a big difference is very important. And I feel like that has helped so far, right? Not forever, but if that day comes, like that reinforcement, like you said, is I feel like very important to have.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, especially around your community of who really like really like
Hmm.
understands and sees it. They can like really tell you like, hey, like like maybe you need to step back a little bit. And
Hmm.
I had that a couple times, man, where like I said, right now I'm going through like I have a mental coach, and
Okay.
what he does is it's more like I'm mentally there at like always operating at a high level, especially in the military. I'm always constantly like
Mm.
on.
Yep.
And then I go to jujitsu, I'm on. Then I come home and then I'm a dad and on. So
Yeah.
it's constantly with that high performing and then boom, I crash. You know what I mean? Like I
Yes.
had
Yes.
like
The crash. Exactly.
I hit that one point, I think it was last month. I was like this is not like I don't want to do this. I signed up for PANS. I was like, I don't even want to do this. Like I don't want to do this. I just want to go to Florida
Yeah.
and hang out. I don't
Mm.
want to compete. Like forget this. But then I don't know what it was, man, but when I talked to my mental coach, he like literally flipped the switch in me. And then after I was like, no, let's go. You know what I mean? But then
Nice.
afterwards, like you said, indulge in life, right? Family, enjoy the area that you're at. I had a mental breakdown where I had to like really realize that jujitsu is part of my life.
Hmm.
And if I let that go, it's kind of like letting go of my identity of who I am, right?
Hmm.
And I came back home and I was like, you know what? Instead of working techniques and stuff, I need to go and work more on my mental strength.
100%.
So now that I've got that, like I'm like almost like 2 months in. I'm like, man, I'm so like excited because I'm gonna sign up for nationals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
Okay.
nationals. That's the one I'm hitting, and then master worlds, and then some opens here and there. But I'm more looking at these tournaments like, man, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's
This is
do it.
gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it now.
Hmm.
Before it felt like the anxiety, the pressure. And when I went to PANS, like all that went away. Like it was just like I didn't feel it. Like it was
That's a good
going
mental
wrong.
coach. Yeah.
Yeah, the day I got there, everything was going wrong. My flight got in
Hmm.
late because I took a red eye flight. It got in late.
Yeah. Same. Same. Red eye flight. I got there like at 6 in the morning.
We got the rent a car at like 8:30.
You didn't feel bad? You
I had
didn't
to
feel like
fight.
tired or anything like that?
Not really, but you know what I mean? I was like, I had all the kids, they were tired, they were hungry, and then I was
They did
like,
the red eye?
yeah.
Damn.
And then I had to fight at like 9:30. So imagine I got to the venue, it was like 30 minutes to get to the venue. I had to get out of like, when you get into the arena where they had that gate. And my wife's
Yeah.
like, here, just get out here at the traffic light and just go in. I was like,
Yeah,
I
that's
got in,
sick.
put on my gi. They called my name, but one thing my coach told me, he was like, before you even get on the mat, like close your eyes, breathe, control my breathing, and let everything go.
Mhm.
And when I did that, like I don't know what it is. Like I said, I flipped a switch. And then
That's good.
when I was competing, it was so much fun. Like I was just having so
Yeah,
much
it's
fun.
good.
I was moving in a way where I was like, dude, I don't even know like how I'm doing this. And then my wife asked me, got in the car, she was like, how'd it go? I was like it's the mental coach is actually working. Like it's
Yeah,
working.
that's good.
I could have had a
100%.
breakdown, everything could have just went, like everything could have went bad, but it was like boom, I had fun. And it was like I was
That's
enjoying
good.
what I was doing. But it was good, man. It was good. So, what is? How do you take losses mentally, especially at a high level? Like,
Mm.
how do you deal with that the after when it's all quiet, everything's done, your phone's not blowing up, and your phone's like turned off. Like, how do you deal with that?
So the loss, I kinda give myself a little reverse psychology, like, when I compete, especially when I go compete with someone higher level, and I feel like I can say, like, I have competed at the highest level, like, people with big names in the gi and the no gi. Last year was a big turning point, right, when I did, like, UFC BJJ, fought Mikey, but even before him, like, people in the gi, like Pato Meram, Baby Shark. There are certain people that I have had matches with where the only times where I would be really frustrated were the moments that I lose because of myself. If it's them, that's fine. If they're technical, if they played the right game, if they're smart, hats off to them, 100%. Like, I'm competitive, but it's more about being competitive with how far I can go, not I want to be better than you, and whatever. It's just competition a lot. And so when I would deal with the loss, two things happen. Hey, I lost. It is what it is, especially ref decision. Some people love when they win ref decision. And for me, it's like, I can do better than just ref decision, right? Even if I win. So I do beat myself up when I get ref decision when I win. Cause you don't even know, right? Like the referee could be like, could have been him, could have been so and so. How big was the margin of it was in his favor, right? So even with that, I tell myself, hey, if it's like a bad loss, right? I do definitely have to have like a moment of like reflecting, okay, okay, what was going on? And then, like you said, the mental, very important to reflect on that. As long as you don't dwell, there's people that I've spoken with, even students who, being a teacher, like you get exposed to students like opening up and reflecting. So it's kind of like some advice I even take on myself of learning of like, all right, I see these patterns. I notice what they do, what I do. And the two things happen that are like, all right, I took a loss that I know I could have done something better to win, or at least make the match go on differently, is definitely more through a mental standpoint. Not a physicality, not a they were worse than me. It was definitely more of like a mental. Even recently, like in Pan Am's, I was competing, I was doing just fine. And the guy's a good competitor, right? Like he's, again, like really good, high level. But there was something happening mentally where I had like an arm bar and it was very quick. And I hear the elbow pop. And the moment that happened, I was worried. Like, oh, in my head, I go, like, are you okay? And that's a big no-no as a competitor. Like, you don't want to worry about your opponent's arm, like in the moment, right? Like afterwards, you can reflect and be like, hey, is your arm okay? But in the moment, I grab the arm, it pops. And then, like, for some reason, like, I had this feeling like maybe you roll with a student and you don't want to hurt them. And then accidentally, like, a pop, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. It felt very much like that. And I was upset because I'm like, I didn't treat him like I was competing against him, right? So then I throw that reverse psychology thing of like, all right, let's say we're gonna have a match and you won worlds, pans, this and that, like 5 times this and that. My whole thing I switch up in my head is like, all right, if you're so good, then you better show me how good you are. I'm going to show you how good I am. But in this story, I'm supposed to lose, right? So I don't have anything to lose. That underdog story, like I don't have anything to lose, nothing to worry about. I'm at high level. I'm going to show him what I have. Many times it goes in my favor mentally, win or lose, because it's more about how you perform. And I feel like a lot of people have a similar feeling when they don't perform to the fullest they know they can. And I've had that with a lot of people where I would lose and I'm like, all right, I lost. I did what I could and I'm totally fine with that. That means they won by points, submission, like technicality, and I'll take that loss. The competitive side of me within myself is like something was blocking my mental and like why was I competing that way? Why was I worried? Why was I this? Why was I that? Very common things that one can get, and it's a lot of mental work. That's when I reflect more on matches where like I could have done better and to try my best to be like it all boils down to the bare minimum. Like it's not that serious. You're going to compete. Why are we competing? We're competing because we love it. We're competing to get better. There's a sense of maybe that disappointment or that doubt that people can go and run into. Once you take that away, probably what you felt was when you went like breathe, close your eyes and went out. I like hearing that too because it's very similar to like, what do you got to lose,
Yeah, no, facts. I
right?
think
Just you're going in there and doing your thing.
I feel like with that moment when you felt that guy's pop, that and you wanted to like see if it was okay. I think that was a sense of maturity.
I was
That
told
that
that the other day
yeah,
too. Yeah,
that's a sense of
100%.
maturity,
Yeah,
100%. Like when
yeah.
once you because when I was looking back at my old videos when I was younger, I had no mercy. I would just rip someone's head off
You don't care. You don't
ah,
care. Yeah, yeah. You don't care. 100%. Yeah.
or I'll get a heel hook and I'll rip it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't care if you have work tomorrow,
Yeah,
but
100%. Exactly. Hey, that's not my problem. You signed the waiver. Very common. I didn't realize how common it was. I was talking to my brother about it because he's done football in high school. He's like, yeah, dude, I know how it feels. You just run them over in football and you're like, whatever. But like him, being a father, he's more mature. For me, like I'm in my point where I'm like being an instructor. Like the instructor side came out of me. And I don't want to be an instructor rolling with people like, don't roll with Kevin. He's weight cutting. You're gonna watch out. He's gonna go rough. And I've had that before. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be known as like, oh, he's gonna choke you out or, pop your ankle. And so that is actually something I'm working on because there has to be a separation with the maturity, right? Like, hey, I have your arm. If it pops, you could have tapped. If you don't want to, I have to keep going, but not in a malicious way of like ripping it and then like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's more so like it's a sport, right? Like I'm not trying to hurt the person. I'm trying to win, right? And I'm gonna do what I have to do to win, but through a different lens. Because what you said is actually what a lot of people I've spoken to about said the same thing. They're like, well, you're not a dick. You're not a bad person anymore. You're not an asshole. You're not like, you're a caring guy now. You're actually wanting to do jujitsu. You're not trying to be mean. You know what I mean? Like a younger version of you would. And I'm like, that's totally making sense. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, why do I care about his arm? Like, why do I? What's going on? And so after that point, I did other tournaments like what was it? The Chicago Open, the Santa Cruz Open. And then honestly, that was like that was some good practice of like, let's get out there and then let's just go back to basics, just straight up, let's go compete. We're good. And afterwards, I can be like, hey, how's your arm? Or are you okay? Like, but in the moment, just separating that and finding that feeling again through a different lens, more so, just, like you said, just that maturity.
That's what I do when I go to other people's gyms, man. The first thing I do, like say if I go to your gym and your students are there, like the first thing I do before I even roll with anyone is like, hey, do you have any injuries that I need to know about? Do you have any surgery that you had surgery on that I shouldn't be touching? And like, oh yeah, my knee, like I had surgery. Okay, cool. Now I know. I'm not gonna touch your knee.
Done deal.
You know what I mean? Done deal. And if you're like a purple belt and below, I don't ever touch your legs ever. I
No.
just like, we just do basic
Yeah.
rolling and sparring. But every gym I go to here, like it doesn't matter what gym I go to, I will ask. Or if I know they're an older person and you know what I mean? I don't go hard with them. I just like, I try to let them like just move. While I'm learning, they're learning, you know what I mean? We're structured training now, like, so I always tell people, I'm like, you have to have a little bit of tact when you go to other people's school too, as well. Not just go there and like try to rip their heads off, you know what I mean? But by
No.
all means, if they come at you and they're coming at you hard, like it's okay,
Yeah.
they open that door, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't
Yeah. They
don't
open
have a
that
bad
door.
attitude. Don't have a bad attitude towards it. Just, take it as like, you know what, hey, they're trying to test me and I mean, we're gonna be friends after. Like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's etiquette, man, and I teach that to a lot of students that I when I go to the gym, I'm like, hey, man, like these are the type of etiquettes that you should like just adopt a little bit, just so that when you go to any other school, you'll have that high most respect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
'Cause
huge.
last thing you want is to like hurt someone, and then now you're known as that, and then now you're taking away money from someone's establishment.
Yeah. That's
You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's bad. It's bad when you start doing that, especially when they're like, "Hey, come train. It's okay." And I tell them, I'm like, there's some black belts out there, there's some brown belts out there that just go wild. You know what I mean? Like they're just
That's scary.
and there's no control. So it's like you just have to little control, especially when you're in a new environment. Do you feel pressure when you're being like in competition, and what fuels you to keep going when you're in mid cycle or mid training before the competition?
I feel like maybe certain people feel the same way I do in the sense of as a competitor, there's stages, right? Like as a kid, you just go because you love, you want to compete, and there's not a lot of thought into it. You just want to compete, and then as you get older, life happens, and then you kind of find different motivations and different what is it, reinforcement, right? It's just things that help you. And in regards of pressure, the biggest thing that keeps me off of the pressure is like one of them actually for a while was kind of talking to myself, and I'm like driving or flying. And if I ever catch myself like thinking about the bracket or the tournament or whatever, it used to be like, man, like you pay way too much money to be nervous. You flying, you're driving, you're doing this and that. Like the last thing I want to do is get there, be nervous, lose, and be like, that was an expensive nervous. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do all that. But no, a big one for me is if I win, cool, right? Keep your head down. And then if you lose, keep your head up. So that especially some students that see that, they don't have to think that, oh, so and so, wants to compete. And I've had conversations with students saying, hey, like I feel nervous, right? I don't know. I just have this pressure. And I'll tell them, like, we're no different. I really try to bring myself to whatever level people are at, higher or lower, and then relate to that struggle of the nerves. And at the end of the day, I say, you're just going there because you want to go there, right? It's for yourself, but you want to grow, you want to learn. Are you trying to be super high level? Obviously, the majority, right? They're like, oh, nah, I just want to do it because it's fun. I go, well, there you go. Like, do it because it's fun. Don't do it because, I'm there or another coach is there and you have this pressure. And now it's vice versa. Oh, my students are watching. Oh, my loved ones are there. I have to win. It's a very common thought when people have certain support. But at the end of the day, once you realize, hey, like they're there to support you having fun. They're not really there to support you for the win. Jiu-jitsu as a competitor, it's more for yourself most of the time. No one's telling me to compete. No one's really telling you or whoever else to compete. So that validation, that support, and then really recognizing, hey, my kids competing or my other students or family, whatever, like I'm gonna support you, and that's the first and foremost. What I really care about is, did you go out there and perform? I'm gonna be super proud of you if you go out there and perform with a loss, then win. Some people win and they're like holding it for like 10 minutes off of an advantage, and they're like looking at the clock because they want to win. And it's like, where's your display of jiu-jitsu? Like deeper kind of convo I'll have with people. And I tell them that's what I think. Like, are you gonna lose fighting a battle, right? Like tooth and nail, or do you want to win because you were scared to lose? And then, yeah, sure, you won, but you become that person who just wins and they don't grow, right? So I take that on my shoulder a lot, and I always like sharing that so that people go like, oh, Kevin thinks like that too. I'm no different than anybody, right? Like, I don't ever, even to this day, I don't consider myself high level. I always tell them I'm somebody that loves what I do. If you love what you do and you're doing your competition, like you do it because you love it, and everything else doesn't really matter. Everybody already supports you. You know, you lose literally if you lose the next day, the next week, the next month, people are not really gonna talk about it, especially these days. Everything's like the next clip. I did a triangle this past weekend. Next month, no one's gonna talk about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that is I don't know what it is with people that do hold or they hold and then boom, 10 seconds left, sweep. And, oh, I won. Like I'm like, where's the
That's
beauty in
tough.
that, And
Yeah.
that's why I kind of I've been noticing myself gravitating more towards no gi, right? Because I was like, you know what, I want to do gi for 3 years. I told myself because I love no gi. No gi is like I love it. But it's like I was like, you know what? Let me do 3 years of gi because I need to go back to the basics, teach, and then compete more at a higher level, right? Right. Test my jujitsu even more, but also too when I open up my own school, I want to be able. I'm found. My foundation is solid, rock solid with the gi, and not neglected. But when you take the gi off, you expose a lot of people to hard work because
Yeah, I agree.
now it's more like strategic. Like, can you get out of that? Can you really get out
Hmm.
of that? Or you're not gonna hold me, so we're gonna scramble. Can you figure it out? And I've like I said, I've been neglecting it, but starting, like you said, nationals, I'm gonna sign up for gi and no gi. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
I'm gonna be doing both. That is crazy you mentioned. I mean, like I said, I had a deep conversation with one of my buddies, and that was one of the conversations. He was like, "Hey, how do you spend $275 for someone to hold you, and then you lose off 2 points, And then
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
tough. Yeah.
I
So
was like,
that's even more reason to be like, do you enjoy it? Like the nerves or whatever it is that's holding you to it, like just know like you got to dig in and say like I love what I do or I enjoy what I do or I have a purpose greater than the nervousness. Like it has to surpass that cuz nerves are inevitable. People can be nervous. Nowadays, some people don't get nervous if you're at the high level. Some people maybe always get nervous. But just you have to have something that will always overcome the nerves because it'll be there, right? Like it's natural. Like when you're signing up, you're gonna fight this dude, however you want to put it, and they're gonna try to like win, however it is. Very unpredictable. Some people can be nervous and say like, "What if they get my leg? I have a bad elbow, this and that." But like something that says, "I love what I do. It's fine. We're just gonna see what happens and then grow from it." That I feel like is very important to be shared a lot more of. Like that's fine if you're nervous. That's an emotion. Fear is normal. Excitement is normal. Anxiety is normal. But like I see it as like it's a funnel where like all these emotions happen, but like what is coming out? You know what I mean? That's the most important. All that's fine, like all this other stuff and clutter, but what's filtering and coming out? That's what you can control. What is coming out of that? And win or lose, that's like the last thing in your mind. It's like how do you feel coming out of that funnel? I feel like that's super important. I was
so
gonna ask, do you think gi transitioning to no gi or no gi transitioning to gi is easier?
gi transitioning to no gi is a lot easier because now you're more susceptible to same position, different grips. Yeah, I kind of find it weird. But, like, I do way better in no-gi because, like, in when I was a little kid growing up, I just did no-gi for a long
Oh,
time,
okay. Okay.
so then I put on the gi, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm good, I'm good." I figured out some stuff, but like no-gi, like I'm just my game is more tailored towards no-gi for some odd reason.
Yeah. Does it
It's
feel
a
more
weird,
natural?
yeah, it feels like, you know what I mean? Like when I go to a tournament and it's no-gi, I'm just like, I don't even need to warm up. Like I'm just gonna have fun. Like, shake hands, let's have fun. You know what I mean? Like let's do it.
That's
But gi,
good.
I'm just like, oh, I gotta warm up. I gotta warm my
Yeah, you
grips
gotta
up. I
warm up.
gotta, and then some people have these gis with these textures that is like when it gets
It
wet and they,
hurts.
yeah, and I'm just like, oh man, like man, this is not cool, man. So I end up and I figured that if they have that gi with texture I don't like, I just end up grabbing their wrists. I'll grab their
Mm,
wrists, or
yeah.
instead of grabbing their lapel, I'm like grabbing their neck. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally just alternating and then pants,
I
neck,
get that with the
pants.
body lock. I'll tell some students, like, I don't see a lot of body lock in the gi. Like, they it's for me, it's like, I'll do no-gi for a while, and then the first week or 2, when I go from a lot of no-gi to gi, I'm, like, moving faster, going, and then I catch myself, like, going back to my routine of, like, oh, I get my grips and sit, or I get my grips and hold and settle. But certain things I realize, like, hey, keep it moving. And the body lock, I start noticing, like, people grab these grips, and I'm like, the body lock is there, is like so strong. So like recognizing that transition is important. But it's like what you said, like you grab the neck, grab the wrist, like if it works, it works. It worked,
Yeah.
that's important.
So I want to transition gear to like you're gonna be hitting a next chapter in your life when you're getting out of adults, going into masters, right? So what is some professional growth that you want to do in like 3 to 5 years?
Mm.
Maybe like opening up a school, maybe
Yeah.
moving, maybe starting a family. Like, what are you maybe being more of a mentor, stepping back from the competitor side and be like, hey, I'm a mentor more. What is your like 3 to 5 year plan moving forward,
That
like moving
that's
in?
That I talked about with somebody the other day, and they asked the same thing, like, "What are you gonna do? Like, what do you want to do?" And then now it's like a lot more concrete of what the plan is. So, like me competing, you're gonna catch me with gray hair, like 50, like I'm gonna be competing
The
brittle.
next megaton.
Megaton, yeah, yeah. That guy, I do, that guy competes, and he does it because he loves it. Like that's what I owe prime time example of like, dude, look what he's doing. Like, he's not worried. Like that guy just goes in there because he's like, let's fight. Like it's megaton. That's what I see, right? And I think like early 30s, like the plan of opening a gym is getting closer, and that's definitely a big milestone that I'm gonna have. It's gonna be a transition for sure. So for the meantime, I'm taking little notes from other people, like keeping in mental notes of how they run their business, what I see, good or bad. And ever since a kid, because I'm the youngest, there are a lot of experiences that I've seen third person where I'm like, oh, that's good, and oh, that's bad. So I'm doing that same application of it where it comes to opening a gym, where you want to do it, why you want to do it. If it's for money, that's the last thing on my head. Like, yeah, I want to make money, but I already know for the fact that when I open that school, I'll love what's happening and having it grow, the networking, the growth, like kind of sitting with myself and saying like, what's it gonna look like? I kind of go in a trance. So I look forward to that around, like I said, early 30s, just when the time is right. But I know that transition from adult to masters, it will definitely depend on how I feel like within myself. Cause I've seen people who are over 30, like almost 40 competing at worlds, Pan Ams, and they're studs, they're getting after it, and they're still putting a big, mark on the mat when they go against a lot more younger people, like just 18, just got their black belt, hungry, right? So that hunger might not be as strong as I was as a younger kid. But the mentorship, I want to be able to display whatever it is competing wise with the future students that I might have, and to tell them through action, right? I can talk about it with them, but to say like, look what I do, look what I love to do. I don't care how old I am, you can still do whatever it is as long as you put your mind to it. And that shift, it's a hard one to kind of describe too, right? Because I haven't been there. But through other people, they've mentioned just like that decline of competing and more about the business, running a school, family, especially. Like all I really want and hope, right, is kind of like that similar analogy of like that funnel, right? Like I have a school, family, I have work, I have this and that, and then money and responsibilities. But hopefully, right, if it all goes planned, like to funnel it down to like, are you happy? Like, are you really enjoying what's going on? If you really enjoy it, cool, you're in a good spot. Even with the struggle, right? Struggle of having a gym, that's a struggle, right? Like struggle of competing, that's another struggle. Family, kids, that's struggles. But are you happy, right? That's the bigger picture. That's what I look forward to, kind of reflecting back and be like, hey, are you good? What do we got to do? What do we got to fix? It's not even like a preparation of like, all right, like when I turn this age, I'm going to open it. It already just feels like it's going to happen, right? So when time comes, the opportunity strikes, like that'll be a good thing. Maybe where will come up of where I want to open up a school. I'm pretty open to it. I don't have to be in Arizona. I'm not, I don't have anything tying me down 100% like in Arizona. It'd be cool, right? But I've had conversations with people where they're like, you want to open a school in Texas and Washington and even Denver and like other places. I'm like, I've been there, not Denver, but I've been to many places. And I started realizing like, man, traveling exposes you to like a lot of beautiful places. And that's when I realized like I can open it anywhere. Like as long as I do it right, you can put your mind to it and open it anywhere. So I look forward to that moment of like, all right, what's the plan, right? Like, how are we going to do it?
Yeah, that's cool, man. Cause like I feel the need to like to give back to the jujitsu community, and
Hmm.
when I open up my own school, it's gonna be a nonprofit school. And basically, like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I even told my wife, I was like, if I have to walk away from the military to stand this up, and I would be happy making $30,000 a year. As long as I could see like trouble kids like coming into the school and getting after, because you never know that this
Yeah.
might be the next world champion, or it might change his life to a point where he does follow my footsteps and join the military, or does something, you know what I mean, rather than getting in trouble, and I feel like jujitsu can give back in that way, and that's where my calling's been. That's why I started this podcast. This podcast
Mm,
is basically the everyday person. If you have an issue or a problem, like there's people similar going through it, and you
100%.
can just go online and be like YouTube and like, oh, they talked about that. They talked about competing. Oh, Kevin brought that up. Like, you know what I mean? I am hitting that. That's how he dealt with it. That's cool. Now when I lose, I have that mental reverse on me, that reverse Uno. Like, oh, did I do? Did I give it my all? I did give it my all. And
Yeah.
that's where this thing like stems from, is when you said your calling is going to be soon. That's how I felt too.
Mm,
Now I'm in the process of like talking to people, in the process of like learning, like the
yeah.
professor becomes the student
The
again.
student. Yeah.
I'm a student now, because I'm like getting on these phone calls with business owners, and they're like, hey, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
writing
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
notes, and one thing I could tell you is like, if you're having those conversation, like I have like a notebook that I have. It's a black book, and I carry that everywhere I go. So it doesn't matter if I'm talking to someone gives me a good idea, automatic. Like I take that notebook and I write it down. Like I write it down, and I just be like, hey, is it? Can I hit you up later if I have any questions about this? And normally they do. They're like, yeah, just hit me up, and I'll hit them back up like maybe a week or two. I'm like, how does this work? Because I went to do my research, but it doesn't work, and so I just do that, and now like it's been going on 2 years since I've been doing that, and my wife was like, "Hey, it's time for you to like."
Yeah.
So we ordered mats already. Mats are coming to my house, and
Oh, really? Nice.
yeah, so like I'm kind of like pulling the trigger already slowly, but it's like the reality of it coming true is like it's already starting, and I'm freaking
Yeah.
out because I'm like I'm going to the military, and I'm just like, man, the military gave me a life too,
Hmm.
but I'm just like, this is not who I am. I don't drive with these people.
Yeah. That's true.
My military people, I don't relate to them. You know what I mean?
I
Because
can see that.
they just put the uniform on, and they have their weird personality, and then you take the uniform off, they're like nobody. And then I had a conversation with someone about like, hey, what are you gonna do outside the military, or what do you do outside the military? I'm like, dude, I mind my own, because I work an hour and 20 minutes away from where I live one way.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just like, I mind my own business, and I go train jujitsu, and that's my community up there. They're like,
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do? They're like, I just stay home and drink beer. I was like, man,
That's
like you go.
tough.
So what I did was like, the gym down in where I work at. I was like, hey, like why don't you just like go and like train here, and just say I referred you, and you'll be good. And so they started like some of my coworkers started to go train jujitsu, and they're like, man, this changed my life. Now they're talking to me at work about jujitsu and stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and if anyone knows me outside of jujitsu or the military, I don't ever talk about jujitsu. And that's how sacred I hold it to myself. Like it's so sacred to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm
I
the
don't talk
same. I
about
don't
it.
go off. I don't go off like, hey, like come. Like I'm not big on that too. Like I remember in high school, when I graduated afterwards, people were like, I didn't know you did it, and I'm like, cool. Like you found me, right? You found me on Instagram, but I never went around like, oh, dude, do you train? Like, do you train? I see it as kind of like it can be showboating, or even if it's not, it's more like that's my thing. That's my thing. If you
Yeah.
want to learn it, cool. come on in. But if somebody's doing their own thing, I'm not gonna burst their bubble and be like, no, 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 come in jiu-jitsu like a cult or something like that. You know, like you
Yeah.
gotta join, you gotta no, you very laid back. But exactly how you said it, like I don't really talk about it that much. When I'm with my family, not really like I'll talk about it because they already know I do it. But that's the moment usually when I'm with my fam where I have the freedom to talk about anything else. My car. Like, oh yeah, I'm fixing my car, this and that. Like, oh well, you did this at work, da da da. Like that separation is super important, right? So that is not just jujitsu, jujitsu, jujitsu like all day
Yep.
and
Yep.
you already do it all the time, right? So yeah, but when someone is doing like what you said, like they're just hanging out at home and not really doing much, like kind of that curiosity, like hey, like you want to come train? Like what do you do? I don't know. Like that's more natural. Right? It has to be natural. It can't be like forced.
Yeah, no, so when they show up, man, and then, like, some of my leadership, they're like, because they Googled me and they're like, "Dude, you do you do jujitsu, bro?" Like, they're like I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Explains why you think the way you think," because, like, a lot of things don't bother me at work. Like, I have, like,
Mm.
people that will bring up situations, they're, like, so flustered. I'm like, "Man, it's not big of a deal, man. Like, just let it go, you know?" And, they find that out and they're like, "So what are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I got a tournament this weekend. I'm leaving."
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean? They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, dang." Or they're like, why do you leave? Like, why do you try to leave work early? Because I'm trying to beat the traffic so I could get to training.
yeah, dude.
Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I end up telling my some of my bosses, I'm like, yeah, I gotta go to therapy. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's going to therapy. That's good. He could leave early.
yeah.
Jujitsu therapy, man. Like
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, you know what I mean? And there's a
Therapeutic.
guy
Yeah.
there. There's a guy we train with. He's a licensed therapist, so he's like, yeah, dude, just use my name if they ask. I was like, yeah, we met at the jujitsu gym and started training.
That's it.
But, I haven't taught that, I tell that to everyone. I'm like, they're like, when they find out, even my students, in the army, because I teach, they're like, "Hey, R&B, I didn't know you you're like this guy." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't have cauliflower, so you don't really need to know."
Oh, you don't?
No,
Damn, that's
I'm just
lucky.
yeah, no,
That's
I
good.
can't for some odd reason since I was a kid, like, I just never got it because I can't. I don't know, my cartilage, the doctor said the cartilage is too, like, soft.
No, I was told that. So I was one day, I was in Seattle and I had super like squishy soft ears. And then this one black belt like grabs it. Oh, is he? He grabs it and he's like, "You're not gonna get it." He's like, "You gotta have this year and da da da." So then like I'm like the kind of person that's like, "Oh, you told me I can't have it? All right." And then like I started training and like on purpose, I'm like, boom, like putting my ear on the hip or whatever. And then when you finally get it, it hurts. Like the whole thing, like this one was first like bubbly purple. And I'm like, dude, people are clubbing your head and then smack on the ear. And I'm like, this sucks, dude. Like, you should drain it. No, 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 but I want it, but I want it. I had the same thing though. Like, I had super like soft ears.
Yeah.
And I thought I wasn't gonna get it until finally, like I think life was like, all right, you said you want it. Boom and boom. And I'm like, oh, like it took some time.
Yeah, so like my two students would be like, "Man, you don't got like the ears and stuff." I was like, "No, I don't. Like, we don't need it. You don't need it, Tat. You don't need
You
it to
don't
do
need it,
it."
yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, okay, 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 cool." And then they're like, "Man, but can I ask you?" I'm like, "Man, we gotta go to class. Man. The class got to roll on. Well, don't ask about
Yeah.
my personal life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, leave that alone. Well, that you
Mm,
could chop that up if I was your friend outside here." But yeah, I don't ever talk about it. Like not even like when I'm out and about. My wife even knows. Like I say nothing about it.
100%.
And even in the military, they're like, a lot of people don't even know I'm in the military because I just like don't even talk about that either. Like, it's just something that I hold sacred. That if I'm having a conversation with someone about jujitsu, I want to make sure that they understand what I'm going through. You know what I mean? And a lot of times with my friends that I call up, I'm like, they understand where I'm like, dude, I'm stuck. Or I call my older brother up because he was a piece of black belt too, and I'm like, dude, like how do you get this? I'm stuck here. I'm stuck like this, but my life is like this. He's
Mm,
like, "Whoa, maybe you need to start doing more Pilates instead of
mm,
lifting all these weights. Your flexibility is going out. That's why you can't hit these moves anymore because you're not
yep,
taking care of your flexibility now and some of your muscles." I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's a scientific
analogy,
analogy
yeah,
you
yeah,
you 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 hit on me." I'm like, and I'm freaking. I'm like, okay, you understand. But yeah, I have those conversations, man, a lot with just people that do
mm.
jujitsu. But outside, I don't. Nah, we're gonna talk about cars because I love cars.
Cars, yes, there's something off, you know?
Yeah. So, man, to close this off, man, if you can give some advice to whoever's starting jujitsu out and they're in the middle of their journey, right? Still fresh, haven't got their blue belt yet, and they're hitting a wall.
Mm.
Is what is some advice you can give them?
Some advice I'd give, like, if someone just got their blue and they hit the blue belt blues, we call it, where they're just there, and it's the hardest belt, right? Blue belt's the longest one. And after you get your blue belt, it's very rare that you'll quit because you passed that threshold. And one thing I'll say for someone who's a blue belt and they're hitting that wall and they're just like showing up all mopey or not unmotivated, to understand, and I'll say, like, you're doing jujitsu not just to get better, for bettering, I want to say bettering yourself. Being a blue belt in jujitsu is the real test of, can you withstand something that long of a struggle, not advancing in technique. Somebody new is beating you up. Life is happening. Competition is not working. Work, it can be other things that are possibly a distraction or something that can pull you away from jujitsu. And I say all of that, I don't think it's that you don't enjoy jujitsu anymore. It's that you're hitting a plateau. Once you understand that you are hitting that plateau and that you can overcome it, because at the end of the day, it's all a reflection of what you are either capable of doing or that you don't want to do. Don't let being a blue belt and quitting be the, don't let that reflect on being somebody that, you're just going to give up. You got your blue and you're good, right? Very rare if you get your blue belt and an actual life threatening or big life change happens, where I'm totally understanding of that. At blue belt, make quitting legit. If you really are somebody that, you really can't do it, that's very subjective. If you really don't enjoy it, like if you are truly like reflecting and you're like, you know what, like it just isn't the same. Why? Is it because maybe you moved gyms? Is it because at the beginning you had that spark, which is very, very common? Oh, I'm a white belt. I'm learning this move. I'm understanding this. It's very stimulating. I always tell the people who are new, especially new, I try to tell them before they even hit that wall of like, look, it's good that you're ingesting all of these new things and it's a new experience. Just make sure that it's not about looking for that rush. When you become blue belt and you are marinated in that blue belt for at least 2.5, 3 years, now it's shifting and you got to learn that, hey, it may not be like it was in the beginning, and that's fine. You started this and you got to blue belt for a reason, right? Don't make it about trying to find that motivation. It's probably a sign of, hey, I am disciplined. This is time to have discipline kick in for when times are a little bit more of a struggle or a plateau. And if you quit, again, I've talked to people and they say, yeah, I've quit. I got to handle some things. And it's a very common talk like, hey, I get it. I get it. I get it. And then I kind of leave them with the, just make sure that whatever it is you do, if it's not jujitsu, to pull full effort in it. And it's more common in like teens. Teens are a very common age where like at high school, they go, I want to wrestle and I want football, because they don't understand the concept of like a hardship or a plateau. More with adults is more of a better talk. And I tell the kids, I go, well, I'm gonna look at you and I say, whatever it is you do, you put full effort. Because if you're just quitting because you want to quit, that's not cool. Maybe you don't feel like it's your calling. But like especially adults, I try to talk to them like in that sense of, you're an adult. You don't have a lot of people who mentor you. A lot of adults eventually don't have that mentor. And if I have anything to say that leaves a little bit of that push to be like, okay, like that makes sense. I always say the same thing. Like this is the kind of journey where it takes discipline for you to really go as far as you want. And then you'll realize how much you grow. Like you gotta really enjoy the suck. They say like enjoy the suck, like things that just don't feel that good. And there's a lot of people that go through that. I wish it'd be like an easy answer, right? But the thing with that, it's like when a student comes to you and they go, "Hey, what move can I learn to get better?" It's like there is no one move to
No.
learn to get better. You know what I mean? And it sucks because they ask for that and they want that, but then I'm like, explaining and all that. So being a blue belt, it's definitely a plateau, and you got to recognize that. I say recognize that you're at a plateau, and it's okay. We all go through it. There is not one person I've met where they don't have some kind of feeling of like, unless you're an anomaly, right? We're not talking about the 1%. We're talking about the majority. And after you pass that plateau, you're going to reach it. You're going to be like, whoa, today's bright. I came in, I tapped out so and so. It was a good day. Then you're going to hit another plateau. Once you realize there's a lot of plateaus in life, even in jiu-jitsu, like I don't care if you're a dad and you're a CEO, like it's a very, very long journey. Enjoy it. Just enjoy what you're doing and just know that you have a team to go through that with, that you can talk to. Don't make it feel like you're the only one going through it, right? Like don't ever feel alone and be like, damn, like this sucks. I don't, a lot of people go through it and that's normal. That's fine. But don't let that dictate like, hey, this is why I'm quitting. Like it's just, I'm not feeling it. really push yourself. Like, do you have something else that pushes you? Then that's okay. Like, but if you don't have anything pushing you, that is a sign. Like, this is the reason why you feel that way because you're not used to that, like how you were as a kid. When you get in trouble, you're like, oh, like my mom and dad, or you're struggling in school or you're struggling in sports or something that you are not allowed to quit. As an adult, it's very easy to quit. And you have a lot of excuses and justification for, yeah, well, this and that, but I have this, and it's okay, I'll come back. And then coming back never comes around. Make that a sign of like, keep pushing. That's all I can say. Like, you have a plateau and you're going to hit longer plateaus. I even tell my kids like that reference of like, you playing a video game. Like the kind of video games that like you have level 1 to 2. You do one thing, boom, level 2. You do another thing, boom, level 3. But then you see a lot of kids quit when they're playing the game. They're like at level 57, and they're like, I don't want to reach that level. That's the plateau we're talking about. You have to do extra things, and you have to play a lot more of that game and experience to go to the next level. And then what happens? Oh, I reached level 58 or whatever. And I go, but you're going to hit another plateau. And then you're going to be like, damn, this sucks. No, it's not that it sucks. It's just that you want to have the quick fix. You want to feel stimulated all the time. And especially nowadays, people look for that, especially my generation. We're scrolling, 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 scrolling. And then you start jiu-jitsu, you're like, cool, man. And then people tell me like, yeah, bro, I want to compete. I want to get gold. And I go, all right, cool. Let's do that. And then let's keep training. Like, yeah. And then they don't connect it. And then we have talks, you know what I mean? Because the bigger picture is like, you got to enjoy that uncomfortable feeling that everybody else goes through. And that's okay. You're not going crazy. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not growing. You are growing just in different ways that you don't realize because jiu-jitsu exposes the person. You know what I mean? Let it expose you, let's grow. And for whoever sticks around to it, like even purple, brown, and black, that might go through that too. Even for myself, I sometimes go through that. There's plateaus, and I understand that there's just simply plateaus. But you know what? The nerves, the plateau, I know that for how much I enjoy jiu-jitsu and like the things it gives back to me is always gonna be better and conquer that struggle, right? Struggle is good, but you got to have something that overcomes it. Don't be quick to quit. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man. Man, I really appreciate that, man. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people that are listening to this are gonna appreciate it. And man,
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, man. Like I said,
Yeah.
you're a very
Thank you
busy
again.
guy,
Yeah.
and getting you on here was like was like very
It was a
like the
struggle,
timing,
dude, and I really
no, but it's just
appreciate
the
that.
timing. You know what I mean? I'm very aware of the timing and what's going on. And I was like, yeah, let Kev sleep, let him rest for a little bit. Well, we could hit it on
No,
next week.
thank you again. I appreciate it.
Like I said, I don't take people's time lightly because I'm like really busy too, and I get very caught up. But man, I really just sitting here enjoying conversation and hearing your mindset and really talking to you of how you think is unique. You know what I mean? And it's unique in a way where not a lot of people think the way you're thinking.
Mm.
And that's one thing I appreciate, man, about
Yeah.
jujitsu is like
Thank
I
you, man.
met you through Marv. I met you at Master World. You know what I mean? And right away, I already knew you were a genuine person. Because I meet some people that do compete at the high level with high people with people with like big names, and then they just like kind of like the way they treat people in public is like really like bad. And
It's different.
when I got to meet you, like I already knew, like when Marv likes you and you're hanging out with Marv and
Marv
Marv's,
is the bridge. Marv is the bridge.
and
Yeah.
Marv is messing with you, like you already know, because
Yeah.
Marv's like that, you know what I mean? When he was training with me, is like he's always like if he messes with you, he likes pops likes you, you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
And I was like, he's good. He's good people, man. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
He
I'm like,
is.
and I got to connect with you. I was like, man, dude, you're actually genuine. And
I
keep
appreciate
that,
that.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I see it through your students. I see it through the way they compete. I see how they carry themselves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it shows a lot on the mat, man, of how your mentorship is showing. And that's cool. You know what I mean? So just continue that. And like I said, brother, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you again, man. Likewise. I appreciate it.